only afford a $35 seat. So that's the ones I took. With Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett.
Were you there at the, I think it was the auditorium, must have been the Auditorium Theater, where they had like a mortgage burning?
Yes, I was.
I
I was in the sky seats, though.
the scholarship section.
And you think of the people that were involved in that group were Joe Fusco from the liquor stores, Dominic DiMatteo,
That
Tony
was
Paterno.
Dominic Di Matteo was the Dominic's.
Dominic's Finer Foods.
Yeah, okay.
And Mrs. Ferrara from Chateau Royale,
Serafina.
Serafina. Those were all heavyweight people that donated a lot of money to Father.
Now, did you know Joe DiCerto?
Absolutely.
What can you have any observations on him?
Joe DiCerto was a good friend of Father Perini, and probably should have been a priest himself. He was that kind of a warm-hearted fella, did a lot of good, and took care of Father Perini. Did his books and did his whatever he could for him. They were like brothers. When he died, and then Perini died, he had Asciola was there. He had left. Then Father Larry came along.
Yeah, some comment on the Father Larry Cozy.
I liked Larry. I think he was a good guy. He had his weaknesses. We're all a little weak at times. And it just didn't work out for him, unfortunately.
And he died early, wow.
Very, very young.
Now, what was Father Pedini's, in your opinion, what was his secret to success?
He was a good beggar, I'll tell you that.
How do you mean?
Well, he'd say to you, if you'd say to him, I need a bed for this so-and-so, he says, you can have my bed. He slept on most people didn't know, he slept on an air mattress, so that he could absolutely say, I don't have a bed available to you. And how he did it, he had years of experience in the community, and he got some people to help him out. He went to the right people.
Now, were there any segments of the community which seemed to support him more or less?
No, I think there were political, business-wise, and there were some people who had unions. The unions helped him a lot. So he had a cross-section of people coming to help him out.
So he went to the establishment, but to hear Father Pedini talk about it in the early years, before anything was built, in say 1949, they had this dinner dance that they had with the unheard of price of $25 a plate, and he wasn't sure. He was afraid the whole thing would be bust and that the project would go nowhere. And so he was an outsider at that point, but eventually we know what happened.
Well, he had the help of the Scalabrini parishes that were in the right neighborhoods for the right people.
Okay, so the parishes were still going pretty well into in the 50s and 60s, 70s they began to slow down a little bit, but...
At that time they had people who came out of those parishes, whether they went to church or not. That was their parish neighborhood church, and they had empathy for the Scalabrini fathers, and especially for Father Perini.
Mm-hmm.
He was a good arm twister in a nice way.
Yeah. My observation was that he was in touch with everyone, and he got something from every club in the city.
Absolutely.
They had him on their list of charities. He might not have been the top of everybody's list, but he was on everybody's list.
And you want to help your old people, your old folks. There was some criticism when he built that beautiful chapel Do we really need the chapel? We could put all that money into more beds.
Mhm.
But that's the way of the church.
Okay, so the Villa Scalabrini was the focal center of Italian American charity for, from the late 40s into the 1990s. What happened?
Well, first of all, it shouldn't have been the focal point. It should have been one of the focal points. They didn't. They put all their energy into Villa Scalabrini instead of putting it into education or culture or what have you. They had the Italian Cultural Center. Then no money went into that. Very little, in fact, but it all went to Villa Scalabrini. That was a mistake. When Villa Scalabrini started to wane and troubles started becoming prevalent, and they started going with Catholic charities, when they built St. Carlos or whatever that is,
Casa San Carlo.
that's completely anathema to Italians. I'm going to give you $50,000, and when I'm finished, I don't have anything left. We don't feel that way. That's not the way we deal. We deal in, I want 50,000. If the income can pay for it, fine. But at the end of 10 years, I want my 50,000. That didn't work.
So the system that they were using for those assisted living apartments, you think, well, it fell flat. It didn't get enough subscribers?
I don't think so, because I don't think the Italians think that way.
Mm-hmm. And then it was pretty big. About 300-400 beds at one time. What happened?
It got taken over by Catholic charities.
Why?
Because the Italians wouldn't support it anymore. The Italians started drifting away.
You think it was at Casa San Carlo, its failure, that began to drain the
I do.
finances of the whole project?
The leadership in the Scalabrini Fathers didn't want to be responsible anymore. Their movement was going toward the Hispanic community, not the Italian.
Mm.
Cozy was out there alone, and it just broke him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Father Cozy probably took on more than he could handle, and I do remember that he did a lot of these trainings to become a nursing home administrator and to sharpen his skills, etc. But it was really complex, and it gobbled him up. And then the very fact, too, that the original project, when it was okayed by the cardinal, kept the deed to the place in the hands of the cardinal. So the archdiocese had the last word on what happened to it. And so
people never realized the Villa Scalabrini wasn't owned by them either.
Yeah.
The cardinal owned the Villa Scalabrini.
So this was in the early 90s,
Yeah.
if I remember right. And then the Villa Scalabrini ceased to be run by the Scalabrinians, and it gradually or quickly became not so Italian, and certainly not the object of charity. But what became the object of the Italians' charity?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Name me one thing that the Italians have gotten behind.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting behind Casa Italia.
Well, okay, early 90s, Villa Scalabrini goes down. 1998, the Casa Italia is formed. You were there.
I was there.
Tell us the story.
As my recollection, Ron Toronto called me up, said he wanted him to get together with me, Pasquale Caputo,
Butera?
Paul Butera, and we got together and we talked. Pasquale Caputo wanted to buy the thing for the Mola Foundation. Ron said it shouldn't be just the Mola Foundation, it should be the entire Italian community. Now think about it, those are 3 foreign-born Italians and I'm the American-born guy. And I thought this would be a great idea to bring the culture of our people together. Ron had a political motivation. Pasquale had a different motivation. I don't know where Paul was coming from, but rather than have a place where we could congregate and discuss things, your library and all the others, they wanted to have a good time. A home for the Italian community.
A country club.
Well, they never used the word country club, but they said, Ron used the home for the Italian community. And I felt, well, that's right, that's okay. Thinking it would encompass everything. We had a problem with the Joint Civic Committee. They thought we were usurping their role. We were going to take the place over, and the Joint Civic Committee was going to rent space from us. And Paul worked out a deal whereby...
Basil.
No,
Oh, Paul Butera
worked out a deal that they would have rent for this and that. It made a sweetheart deal for them, and they joined. Got it in. The Fornelli was already ours. We were already playing with that. So we put that in there too. And that was the start of the thing. We brought other people. It started to get these other people wanting to have a card game up on the 3rd floor, or good time, bring their religious ceremonies there, all well and good. But what about the library? What about the cultural center? What are we doing to help them? That didn't go with anything.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Fornelli came along, or had been running along, that's where the breakup came, when they wanted their picture on the front page. Paul said no pictures on the front page, no giving away
oversized checks.
Checks and all that kind of stuff. Make it a regular magazine. Needed a raise, and there was a difference of opinion as to how the raise went down.
And that would have been in the, what, 2005 or something, or?
About that time.
So, yeah, you mentioned but let's go stay with Casa Italia. That was 1998 when it was founded.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2014 now. What's happened?
I think one of the things that happened was the infrastructure was overrated. We've had to spend a lot of money on infrastructure, and there's no problem with that. If there was no Casa Italia, there'd have to be something to take its place. So I want to work with it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make the cultural aspects come to life. And you got to say that while the spark is there, we're still kicking our feet.
Mm-hmm.
They gave you a little bit of a heartache with the Loyola thing,
Yeah.
but you see it's coming around.
Yeah.
We're talking to people that can do it. On the other hand, you got the same old, what do we got to do this for? What do we got to do that? I think we're wearing them down a little bit.
So, you know, it's an Italian-American event space to a large extent. And do you think that there's more activity going on there than
Well, now
there
there
would
is.
be?
Now they're talking about doing bingo out there. They're doing a lot of things that I'll go along with, as long as they put their money in doing the cultural aspects.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to improve the Veterans Museum. I can't afford to keep subsidizing that. It's got to be over there. Where else? Otherwise, where else am I going to put it?
Yeah.
We've got to keep getting your section or the library bigger and bigger.
And we've done some things on that. It seems to me that there are more activities that go there. It's easier for folks, small groups, paisani groups who want to do a patron saint event, to do it on the grounds of the Casa Italia. Things are pretty much there in place. The pavilion is there. It's used every summer or Sunday, et cetera, et cetera. So it seems that to an important extent that's doing it.
I think some of the priorities are a little misplaced. We're finally going to get the generator so that we don't blow a fuse. Did we need more bocce courts? I don't think so. But
Yeah. Well, there.
do we need a fundraiser? Absolutely. We need somebody to go out and spend other people's money. There are a few of us that 1,000 here and 1,000 there. At the end of the year, it adds up.
Yeah. Okay. Now, there are so many different projects you've worked on. What about the Franoi? It began in 1960 as sort of a newsletter for the Villa Scalabrini.
It was a house organ for Villa Scalabrini, raising money, and it served its purpose. It then changed around where they lost their $200,000 in the hole. Father
When was
Cozy, when we took it over.
Again in the 90s?
Yeah. Father Cozy had run it into the ground. I had spoken to the bishop, and he and I sat down for lunch. The bishop and he grew up on Conway. Remember Bishop Conway? He grew up a block away from me. So I knew him. He said, Tony.
Is this a Scalabrini bishop?
No, this is a
Archdiocese bishop?
Archdiocese son. He died now. He said, Tony, Larry's got troubles. What was he telling me? Larry was a gambler and the rest. So I said, well, we got to save this thing. You're not going to be able to unless you straighten things out. Nobody would come up with money. But I said, let us have the Franoi. Franoi was $200,000 in the hole. They were happy to get rid of it. And that's when we started changing it around. We brought in Butera, and then Toronto, myself, Maslin, then later on Tony Tortorello,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple
oil
others.
guy?
Who?
The oil, using oil?
The oil guy.
Mm-hmm.
We got a pretty good cross section. We each put up $10,000, and if you wanted to drop out, you got your $10,000 back. That's the way we started.
Now, was this always with Paul Basil, or?
Paul Basil was there when Father Cozy was there. We bought it. Paul had already been there for a couple of years.
Oh, okay. Now, were you involved in it before then with the other lay editors whose names?
Yeah, yes, I was. Fred Gardefay was involved. So was Ysella, Jim Ysella.
Yeah, that's the name I was looking
Jim
for.
Ysella, Paul. Paul was in second in command to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then he moved up to take over the thing.
Okay, and so how did you turn it around? Did Paul turn it around?
I think we all got together and got advertising. Paul has done a yeoman's job in advertising.
Mm-hmm.
He's got people that bring him ads, and that's what it amounts to. We're spending money. The idea there was to spend as much money as we brought in. Nobody wants to make any money on Franoi. So if you don't have a profit motivation, you can spend in the right places. They're now spending a little bit more on articles and different things like that.
Now, it moved from a sort of tabloid to a magazine format a couple of years ago. What's the story behind that?
Well, about 80% of the people like the new format. About 20% of the people don't. But I think the new format lends itself to being retained, sitting on your counter or your desk or sitting at the reception area, and then
Shelf life, yeah.
put into a book, something like that. rather than the paper that you throw away. I think most people like it a lot better, and the content has become pretty good.
A lot of color, a lot of color.
A lot of color, a lot of advertising, a lot of funeral directors, a lot of lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
We need some national advertising.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it all falls in place. Why doesn't Coca-Cola advertise with the Italian community?
Mm-hmm. And then there's the web page that it's got a web presence.
One of the presence, we're upgrading that. It's we're moving out into the Boston. We have a publication in Boston. We're looking at another publication in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So we're becoming more national.
And I noticed that the Fornelli is responsible for the newspaper of the Unico National.
We put the articles in there, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a marriage I put together.
Oh, okay. And then there's the local coverage. Some people complain that the amount of local coverage has diminished.
And I say they're correct.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see a little more local. But then you have a problem. Who do you put? I told Paul that my idea would be to have a man of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like Time has a man of the year.
Time Magazine.
That would get some local coverage for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, but it's been movie stars and entertainment celebrities on the cover.
a little bit too many.
Yeah. And so that now that's financially successful, and
Again, whatever we make, we put back in. Nobody makes any money. We'd like to get some national advertisers so that I don't have to put greetings for Christmas.
yeah. Now, have there been, well, I suppose, wine cellars and beer and Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola?
It should be Johnny at the Rattle, but it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
We need more circulation. That's why we maybe have if we do Boston, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, it might help out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How much more are we going to do, Don?
Okay, you're running out of...
That's about it, aren't we?
Okay, well, there's one other thing. The Veterans Museum.
Okay. I told you before that the Veterans Museum was a labor of love in honor of my uncle. I went to the veterans, Italian-American War veterans, for 3 years, got nowhere. Kept asking them to fund it, had a model, did everything. I said, we have the perfect home, whatever. No, it wouldn't happen. So I finally decided to do it myself. I went to the powers that be at Casa Italia. They want to put me in the basement over there on your basement.
Italian Cultural Center.
Culture Center. I just usurped the thing and put it together where it is now. And I can understand some of the immigrants don't understand the history of the Italian American or the American history. So they don't see the significance of it. I do. I want to perpetuate that. Well, most people don't know in World War II, 11 million Americans were of Italian extraction. We're in the army. Of the 11 million, 10% of them were Italians. My goodness. And none of them went AWOL or smoking pot and causing problems. That's a story that has to be told.
So this would have been in 2003, 2004 or something?
3 and 4, 5, when I was trying to get it off the ground. We finally did it, 2006?
Yeah, that's the way I remember it, yeah.
Yeah.
So you decided to fund it yourself.
Yes, I did.
Then how did it get created?
Well, I got a couple
money
of
doesn't-
people together. My cousin Joe, the artist, helped us. Paul was very helpful, Paul Basil.
Mhm.
and a couple other people put it together. Got carpenters.
Okay, what
They
about a couple of things? You mentioned Joe and Paul. I'd like you to give us a few words on each of them. Joe's
Joe's an artist and has an artistic temperament.
He's a nephew of
He's
yours?
my cousin.
He's your
My father's brother's boy.
your father's brother's boy. So okay.
And Paul too has a creative mind, and they just were clashing all the time. But out of all that came, my daughter was involved.
Mhm.
My daughter, two daughters, Tony and Marguerite. Marguerite's an interior designer. We took those cases that were already there. They came from the Natural History Museum. We just appropriated them.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't get them out. They'd have to break them up to get them out of there. So that's how it got started.
Okay. And Joe was a Vietnam veteran.
Joe was a Vietnam veteran who did a lot of artistic stuff depicting the things that happened in Vietnam. He was a gunner on a helicopter, and he's been involved in the City of Chicago project on Vietnam, what have you. Paul Basil, you know well. Paul worked real hard at it.
Yeah, I don't know Paul very well. His background.
He's a journalist from the University of Northwestern.
Uh-huh. What did he do before he came to?
Not much. I think he got a job through Jim Weissella.
Okay, so Weissella was a Northwestern.
Northwestern professor.
Uh-huh. And so Paul he grew up in an Italian community, or
I don't think so.
Mhm.
I don't think Paul's family was very Italian. They have the Italian name. He's married to a Jewish girl.
Mhm.
But he works hard at it.
So he was very interested. His
Right.
father was a vet as well. World
brother.
War II.
Brother was a pilot.
Uh-huh. And so the Veterans Museum did come together, opened in May of 2006.
Something like that. Boy, the years go by fast.
Yeah. And
Finally starting to take hold of the community. People are starting to notice it. We've gotten more and more involved with that.
and then what about the film?
The film came about when this young man came to Paul and talked about it. We needed the money, and I went to Unico National. They gave us the $25,000 seed money to do it. Whatever else expenses weren't that much. I think it cost about $40,000 to produce. We won 2 Emmy Awards. We sold the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's been on Channel 11 a number of times. So we're happy with it.
Okay, so you're involved in just about everything that came along, and we haven't even mentioned your support of the library at this point. The early 2003 forward, you've been. Tell us about your interest in the library.
Well, I think that's part of my Jesuit training, but also, if you remember, we go back a long time to the University of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
When you first started out with the exhibits about Italians in Chicago. And I believe that then you were down the right track. Very upset that they were giving you a pittance in the budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, let me do it. I had made some money that week. I was happy to do it.
Mm-hmm. So,
And
are you personally, are you a reader?
Yeah, I read. I read a book a week.
You do?
Depends on what book it is and how much time I've got.
Mm-hmm.
A week or 2 weeks, I'll read a book.
And what about films? Are you interested in film?
It depends on what they are. I like the old time films. I didn't see one film up for the Academy Award this year.
Mm.
But I did see all the films that were in antiquity from the 30s and 40s. Those I enjoy seeing again.
Any Italian-American film personalities that you're more interested in?
I like De Niro.
You like
Most of what De Niro does.
I can tell you've got about 20 videotapes
I got
there.
probably everything he's done.
And
I
why?
got 4 or 5.
Is there something Italian about him that intrigues
No,
you?
it's the name, and I like his acting. I thought when I saw him in Raging Bull that was the best performance I'd ever seen. Then we had Jake LaMotta at Festa Italiana. He was Jake LaMotta.
And that was about the time the film came out, huh?
A little later.
Uh-huh.
But when you saw Jake LaMotta, you knew De Niro had him down to a T.
Uh-huh. And, well, what about Italian popular culture? Italian-American popular culture?
Lady Gaga, what's her name? The other one?
Yeah, well...
They don't move me at all.
Okay.
But you'll see that I have Perry Como, Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett.
Well,
Those are my years.
50s, 60s.
Yeah, I'm an old guy.
Yeah. Sinatra?
Sinatra I like, but not as well as some of the others.
I would have thought that you might have had an opportunity to meet Sinatra somewhere.
No, I never did. I'd seen him perform a couple of times, but never met him.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Vale I met, Julius LaRosa, Sergio Franchi.
Yeah, well, being the chairman of the
Tony
Festa
Bennett.
Italiana
Yeah.
helped.
You remember when Tony Bennett played Drury Lane for about $5,000 for a benefit for Father Cozy? Now he's making $100,000.
You
want some water?
Okay.
We're almost finished
Yeah.
then.
So, anything that you want to add?
No, I think we've covered it all.
Okay, well, here's what I think. Let's take these 2.5, 3 hours that we've done and take a look at them and find out what's missing, if anything.
Okay.
And then maybe we can do another one on that. And
Well, you've done my life.
what?
You've done my life, but what relationship does that have to the Italian community? Have you learned anything that I should have done or that I should do that would do better for the Italian community?
What should you? Well, we'll just go back and you should have nosed out somebody to become congressman or something.
Should have beat him over the head.
No, you've been, since the late 60s anyway, you've been there, deeply involved in everything important that was going on. And that's
And what
50 years. What?
And you still have people that doubt you. What's your motivation?
Uh-huh.
You know the pill I'm talking about. Turn that off.